I'm so excited to have you here with us today. Will you please introduce yourself, Amira?
Hi, my name is Amira. I'm a songwriter, lyricist, sing consultant, a mentor, and also a panelist. I get invited a lot at panels and a connector. I like to connect people to each other. Thank you so much. I'm being honored. I feel so honored to be here.
Oh, thank you for being here. I feel honored. I've been just watching what you've been doing lately. And well, first of all, let's just talk about what inspired your passion for this career that you have.
Okay, so a great question. About 7 years ago, I was homeschooling my eldest, and I used to be an art director, and I love graphic design and everything, but I didn't feel fulfilled. So while I was homeschooling her, and I'm sitting down at home, I just, I always wrote poems and songs on the side for fun, and I was that time a little bit miserable. I just felt like, oh, I'm getting older. I was almost, turning 40, and I just didn't feel happy. Like I felt like there was something missing. So I thought, like, what brought me joy is to write like songs or whatever. So I would submit them for like online competitions. And then I noticed that the song that I submitted had so much attention, and
Wow.
it just literally, it was like a light bulb. I'm like, oh, if people wanted it that much. I've had people like beg me to give it to them, like in Nashville actually.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm thinking like, well, why would I give it to someone in Nashville when I can, take care of it here? Because I had a certain vision of the melody and whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, why not make it into a career? Like, and at first I did not know anything about the music industry, so I thought, okay, I'll just write lyrics and sell it, like, like, or give it to the labels and whatnot. Which, it's funny, now I know much better, right? So yeah, that's how it started. And the minute I decided to do that and decided to do a website and about lyrics, like I called it Lyrics for the Soul, Amira Gadd, my tag was Lyrics for the Soul. I started bumping into all these different artists, and then I found out my next door neighbors were also music prodigies, and they were next door. And I thought, okay, well, while I'm homeschooling my daughter, I can go next door. And it turned out they have a studio. It's literally right where my wall is, like the garden is. And I didn't know, because they were younger at that time, and I thought it turned out that they were homeschooled and they're prodigies. And until the mom, whom I was very close with her, she was telling me that they had some American Got Talent, um, like, I think rehearsal, not rehearsal, like, I think, how when you go to American Got Talent just
Yeah.
to audition, as an audition.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
said, what? And she goes like, yeah, they're like musicians. I'm like, well, so that's how she told me that they have a studio. And I'm like, you know what, can I pay them anything so they can help me like create songs or whatnot? And so that's how it started. And of course, I bought books from about the music industry. And I used to like give out CDs, and then I found out something called ASCAP Expo. I was like a girl in a candy store. I'm like, oh my god, it says Justin Bieber is a member, Megan Trainor is going to be there and all this stuff. I'm like, I go in, and yeah, and that's how it started. And so it's like, so one day after the other, I started realizing and getting to know more and more about the music industry, and it shaped to where I am right now.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, that's incredible. So were you doing something else then previously?
Art direction. I was an art director. I
Oh,
have my
that's
master's in
right.
business, and I have my undergrad in fine arts. So I wanted to be a consultant in my art direction services, and I had a big clients which helped with, like, I'm a hands-on mom, so it was perfect working on those two projects in between of how I was taking care of my kids. So yeah, it's just yeah, it's just I'm laughing at that, how I changed from one thing to another, but I love where I am right now. I'm so thankful and grateful for choosing this path, even not knowing what's going to happen, right? So
I love it. Well, how do you balance everything? So you produce, you songwrite, you do sync, mentoring, coaching, speaking at events. So how do you manage all of that?
I don't really manage. I go with the flow. and I calendar. So whatever comes, right?
Yeah.
um, I I work really hard. So, and because I'm passionate about it, a lot of people do this as a job. I do this as a job, of course, but because I love it so much, it's my me time.
Yeah.
So I put my home first, and then everything else falls in place. So I squeeze in time for myself. So whatever my me time is, I work on it on the music because it makes me feel happy.
Yes.
So work to me, it's my me time because I wanted that bad. And so, for example, like in pickup time, I would write a song, right? And then in drop off time, I will squeeze in a phone call or like a text saying like, let's meet up for a session, right? Um, I used to wake up so early before, and I used to stay up all night, like until 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just to finish stuff because I do the admin work for a lot of my collaborations.
Yeah.
And I also what do you call it? Like just like really take care of it because I'm very meticulous. And I want things done. So like my hashtag is no songs left behind.
Oh,
So I really, whatever small amount of time I have to work on anything, I make sure it's being done. So it's like very quality, right?
yeah.
Instead of knowing that I have a lot of time ahead of me, then you kind of slack.
Yeah.
So if I have only half an hour to work on something, I make sure that it's done in that half an hour because I can't do it more or like less. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I love it. Well, what has been the most rewarding thing in this path? Because I just seen recently on your Instagram post, you had a placement in the Kelly and Ryan show. You had 3 placements.
Yeah, 3 placements in it, right?
Yeah, that's incredible. And then you also did Sunflare, a song called Sunflare. It's beautiful. I listened to it. Well, I listened to both of those actually recently, and they're incredible. They're incredible songs.
Thank you. I think my most proud one is a big maybe. I maybe as in like a maybe like it was like the almost placement. My almost placement was gonna be in the Marksman Liam Neeson movie.
Oh,
And I kind of saw my name in the quotes. Is like you get a quote like I'm supposed to approve how my name looks on the end credits. So it was supposed to, right before the pandemic, it was supposed to be, the movie was called The Minuteman. It was supposed to be in theaters. And when COVID happened, everything kind of fell apart. And then they decided to change the title into The Marksman and stream it. And so at the last minute, they switched my song with someone else's. But then literally it was, I mean, like you say, like I went up to a guarantee. I was going to get a lot of money from the promos because I got two things. One, for the song to be in the biggest scene, which is in the Liam Neeson scene when he was running away from the cartel. So the song was going to be played in his car
oh,
while he's running away from the cartel. Like see how, like Liam Neeson, like you know what I mean?
oh my
And
God.
and then the other placement that was supposed to come with it was the promo itself, which was going to be a lot of money, and they switched it at the last minute,
Oh,
and we didn't know until way after. And so but I was, nevertheless, I was so proud of it. I'm like, I
yes,
almost made it. I almost made
yes,
it. Like I would never even in a million years even think, like if you asked me 4 years ago, I wouldn't have thought about it because I took a class in sync 3 years ago. But
yes.
this was not even in my mind. But then, and I'm, like I said, I'm right now I'm 44. I never took a music class before. Maybe a piano class, because that's another story, but that was even like not even counted. It's whatever. But I worked so hard. I really implemented everything I learned from that sync class, and I saw results. And so if I'm a mom of three who is in her 40s was able to get something like that, everybody else in the world can, by the way. So
Yes.
that was my most proud accomplishment, just to let you know.
Oh,
Maybe.
I love it.
I know,
That
right?
is
Yeah.
amazing. That gives
And
me
I probably,
goosebumps.
because Liam Neeson probably heard it too, because once it reaches that and they're in the spotting session,
Yeah.
and it almost approved, that means that there's, everybody, the director, the investor, the producer, everybody was sitting down. And but so that the business decision at the end, it's either a creative or a business decision when they switch things, and it happens all the time. People think it doesn't happen. It happens to the best of us. It actually happened to my big mentor It happened to a lot of big songwriters and a lot of big singers. So, eh, it is what it is.
That's incredible. Well, what has been like the most challenging for you?
Um, I mean, balance between demand of my home life versus getting bigger in the industry. I was working at a trailer music company, and I learned a lot from it. But then my boss had to lay me off when I showed him the hours of drop off and pickup for school. Um, because the trailer world is very insane. You know what I mean? Like, and he was depending on me to do everything. I was like the client, the creative um,
Oh, wow.
services coordinator plus A&R. I was really like the main person to help him out. And so he can't risk it if I'm in the 2 hours that I have to, because I have three different schools now. Before pandemic, they used to be like two schools, or like, because everybody's one in high school, one in elementary, one, and the driving, and then and people forgot how to drive after the pandemic. So we used to do everything during school, like at home, right? Because
Yeah.
of the Zoom meetings or
Yeah.
whatever. But now everybody went back. And so it's ridiculous how traffic became so bad. And what should be a half an hour errand, it literally goes into 2 hour because I'm stuck in one school, and then I have to take the other one to the other school, and then the third one, and there's three different cities because they're, it's
Oh,
bizarre.
yeah.
And so he had to be honest with me, and I understand. And so there's nothing I can do about it. I'm a hands-on mom. I choose to drop them off and pick them up myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did learn a lot within the 6 month I worked for, and I'm very um, I'm very grateful for that experience because I got to do a lot of work like music supervisor and like a music coordinator, where a lot of people didn't have that like have to wait for that chance. This was like I was just hired to do something else, and I ended up being in that position. Like I was only just supposed to tag, um, and to do metadata for like the songs in the catalog. But
Uh-huh.
then I just got promoted because he needed me. So you see what I mean? Like, so it's like I'm open to all these possibilities. Like you never know how where life is gonna take you, right? So
Exactly. Amen. Oh
yeah.
my gosh, I love it. I love you. You're amazing.
I love you, Bonnie. You're beautiful inside and out, and you're
Oh,
very
girl.
talented. So
Right back at you. So what is your typical day? So that is your typical day, basically, then, right?
yeah, like typical. Well, my typical day up till like a couple weeks ago was my daughter has psychology in the morning, so her first class is 7 o'clock in the morning. So we have to leave the house at 6:40, right?
Mm.
Thank God she just got her license. Woohoo! So
Yay.
now she got the courage to drive by herself.
All
So
right.
that took, and she's so happy. So not like I'm scared as a mom, but like you have no idea how happy I am. I have that one extra hour
Oh,
because it started getting so ridiculous where each each school has different demands. Like on Monday, one of them starts a late start, and then the other one starts an early start, and then the third one has half day, and then each one switches, and then one has a Friday off, and then there's staff day. So I literally it never happened before, but I started forgetting them at school, or like show up 2 hours early. Like there was a couple of times, and my daughter was making fun of me. She's saying, "Mom, at this point, this is like natural selection, kind of." I'm like, I can't help it. I'm like, I'm calendaring in, and I'm like, I don't know. Because I feel like I have, yeah, and then I have to cook, and I can't even keep up with everything, right? Teenagers is very hard after you teach them everything, and they're like, like they listen to you, they kind of discover that they have choices now, and they can say no.
you're like wrong
So
answer.
I'm like, I can't do this on my own, like help me. But yeah, but yeah, so my typical day is literally, it's supposed to be back to back, which is, and then I have soccer practices at night or whatever. So, and then dinner, um
And
I
grocery shopping, and I'm
I
sure.
don't know what shopping, the shopping is food, because as much as I go to Costco and all this and Trader Joe's and like market, whatever, for some reason right now they think my food is not good as they used to, and they're so picky, and they're like supposedly like I'm there's no food in the house. I'm like, and I count like all this stuff. I'm like, you guys, there's, and they're like, yeah, nah. So yeah, so it to me is like, I feel like I'm not shopping for myself, I'm shopping for their stomach. So anyways, yeah.
So I see that you're getting ready to start a new Serendipities to Success
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
So tell us about the inspiration behind it.
Inspiration. So when I got laid off from the trailer work, and seeing how sync placements are unpredictable, and even though it's more like a passive income sync, right? You can't really depend on it for your bills because it's not. You never know if you're going to get a placement or not, right? We don't know, and with COVID, everything's kind of slowed down. So I decided to do Serendipities of Success podcast because my mentor who taught me sync is she has a mentorship program for podcasts. Kathy Hiller, and she's making a lot of money. And I'm thinking, and when I implemented what she taught me with sync, I made money out of sync, and it paid off for the class.
Oh,
When I,
excellent.
yeah. So I felt like, you know what, all you have to do is, you have to have a mentor. You implement what she teaches you, or like he teaches you, and you work at it. And that's what I did, and I saw results. So I decided, seeing that how she's being extremely successful financially, that I decided to take her mentorship in podcasting and follow her tips, and implement and try to work hard on it. And so I decided to pick a topic of serendipities because all my life I have the weirdest, the funniest, the most out of the mind, like mind blowing coincidences and serendipities. And I thought this will be a fun topic to talk about. And I also wanted to be, like, I just don't want it to be just entertaining. I want to show people that if you have an open mind to coincidences, that it could lead you to your success.
Oh,
Because um when I came into the music industry, I never thought in my life that this is where I'm going to be. But I noticed a lot of the serendipities the minute I decided that this is what I wanted to do, and I started bumping into all these artists in Orange County, where I thought they're all in LA, right? And then my neighbor, and then all this stuff. I'm thinking, you know what? There's something about when you think about something in your head, and then the manifestation comes right after that. It's like, that saying by Pablo Coelho, from The Alchemist, the universe conspires to make things happen for you. That saying.
yes.
um, I will send it to you just to say what it is exactly. It's not right in front of me, but and so I felt like I wanted to, entertain people with all these, like, oh my God, no way, because it happens all the time, right? Like these kind of stories, but then also give them hope and inspiration that when those little things happen and you're open-minded and you follow those signs,
Yeah.
not in a voodoo kind of way, but more into in a way that will lead you to your success kind of way. You know what I mean? Because we all want to be successful.
I
And when I was open minded enough to follow these signs, when it came to my music industry, I ended up making a lot good money, considered where I'm coming from, right?
yeah.
And so, and then, but I thought, like, you know what, I would love one day to interview Will Smith and know how, like, what coincidences he had that led him to meeting certain people that led him to where he is right now, right?
Oh,
And I
right.
noticed from a lot of the panels that I've attended, all these music supervisors and all these musicians have these like interesting stories, right? So, but my mentor told me not just to interview musicians and just interview people from around different sectors, which she's right, because I know someone who went into a doctor's appointment and for something different, and she found out she's like she has lung cancer
No.
by coincidence, right? And because of this discovery, it saved her life.
Oh,
So that's a success in a
yes.
way. You said me. So
Yes.
I thought, like, okay, you know what? There's a lot of different things that I want to explore. That, making sure, like, how to be open minded about these little coincidences even if we don't know how this happened, because coincidence happens just by itself. You don't plan. But I just wanted to make sure that people can understand the power of showing up. Um,
Oh, yes.
because when you show up, you really never know who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna bump into, who in the line that you're standing in will say something that meant so much to you, that leads you to something that is way bigger, right? So
Yes, yes.
yeah,
You know, it's funny because you talk about your inspiration, Kathy Heller, and
yeah,
she has been mine too. Actually, that's how I connected with you is
yes,
through the
right,
podcast. Because I already had in my mind that I wanted to start the podcast because I listened to her podcast and they're so inspiring. And, you know, being a musician, I felt I wanted to do something, you know, similar and
yeah,
help people. And it's funny how then it returns itself and helps you tremendously.
yes.
But I can see that influence, and I think it's wonderful. And you've got a new follower. I will definitely be following your new podcast, so
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
super excited about it.
And yeah, I'm gonna follow yours too.
Yeah, so you can hear this again.
That's right, yeah.
So, what would you want listeners to know if they were interested in trying to get sync licensing deals?
For sure, you have to educate yourself. So sync, it's not just like something you read about, whatever. You need to have some sort of mentor. You need to educate yourself in order to do it the right way. Because right now we're in an era at this time, artists are discovering that sync can pay you, as opposed to and like record labels and whatnot, right? Because we don't know anymore. So now music supervisors are the new, they're the new A&R. And so a lot of artists get discovered that way, if you know, and they have a lot of fans if their songs are being placed on TV. And like Imagine Dragons and Snow Patrol and Sia, we know them now because their song got placed in Grey's Anatomy.
Ah,
Yeah, they didn't just that's how it happened, and that's how we know, and that's how the so so in order to do it the right way, you have to have a mentor to teach you, because it's not one thing or another. There's a whole bunch of things to do it. You have to combine your creative side with the business and legal side. And music supervisors would love to only work with people who understand how important the business and the legal side of it. It's not just the creative, right? So I offer sync consultations, one on
excellent.
one. But I also, in my consultations, tell people about mentorships, because when I was in mentorships, I met with a whole bunch of like-minded people and did collaborations with and because of the collaborations, it all these people know, like it just widens the probability of you getting a placement, right? And then all these different kinds, like I showed up in everywhere. Like I just didn't just take, like for example, I took Kathy's, Michael Elsner's program. I have, I Sync Summit, I was very involved in the Sync cafes and all this stuff. I made sure there was not any one stone flip, like without me flipping it, right? I
Yes.
bought Amanda's book, and then there's Tamara Bubble's book, right? You can't just like, if I tell people, the same consultation I do is very, what I do is I make sure that I look at the person, social media and then songs, and I give them feedback, and then I like have like a very intimate, tailored 1 hour of things what they should do, because I know exactly, and then it just tells them what, and then I write down PDF notes of recommendations of and the notes that we talk about in the session. But even with my son consultation, it's not enough. You have to show up. You have to always show up in all these thing conferences and events and panels and ask questions. Show them that you exist. I mean,
Yeah.
because the more you show up, and especially right now, like if you just show up, like say pre-pandemic, do you think now it's the same information you can rely on from pre-pandemic? No,
No.
no, right? So
No.
imagine if you just get stuck with just one, right? Like one place or one event. So if you really truly want to have sync placements, you have to always show up. You have to always be there. And you have to always build your catalog. You can't just rely on one thing. Like pre-pandemic, hip hop was, was a big deal, right? And it still is, but I'm just saying like hip hop, R&B, rap. And then you've got like certain lyrical themes, women empowerment, right? On swagger. And then during pandemic, everything stopped because production stopped. So the songs and themes switched into we're all in this together. We're united. Singer
Yes.
songwriter, indie, right?
Oh yeah, I love
The
it.
commercials changed the tone. So you kind of have to also go with the times and with the trends. And the only way to do it is research, research, research. So in addition to showing up, research everything you are looking for, and ask yourself why you're doing this, like why and where you're supposed to do. And actually what I love about sync is a lot of artists get to discover what exactly they want to do and be. Some people are lost, like whatever, but
Yeah.
really I feel like sync pushes people, after they do it the right way and learn the right way, it pushes people to kind of like fine tune the direction of where they want to be in a way. And some people discover their voice by doing that. So
Oh, I love it. Well, is there any other tips that you want listeners to know about you and your path, or if they want to do the same thing? Well, you just told us about that. So, is there anything else that you would like listeners to know about you and your path? And then where can they reach out to you and listen to your podcast? And I'll post show notes because I know it's coming out soon.
yes, yes. Well, speaking of coming out soon, the reason why I said coming out soon is because I meant it to be in January, but I wasn't sure which day. And thankfully I left it that way because everything that could go wrong happened. So I have this cam like this. So I got this. My friend, actually John
Microphone.
Kleinbold, sent it to me, that he used this at Catch the Moon, because he knew I needed it. So he sent it to me because like he's not using it, and it wouldn't work. And then somebody told me to get this, and then it wouldn't work. And then it turned out it's because my computer is old, and so I had to week after week try to figure it out with a friend of mine who helped me tremendously. And then it turned out all I had to do at the end was actually um, download the app.
So you didn't need all these pieces, a microphone
Getting
and
all this stuff and all
all
these
gadgets.
wires, right? Yeah, and I felt so behind. Like I never thought I was like, usually like I'm a teacher spec, like, and I love learning. So I would always with the sync classes, I would show up at every single meeting, and then do the homework and do this and push. And I was the greatest accountability partner you can ever feel, ever meet. This one, I got so overwhelmed. I forgot how pre-pandemic dropping off and picking up kids are, right? I'm still like in my mindset of the quarantine, the Zoom meetings, the kids are sleeping. I don't care if they're even showing up in class anymore. I'm supposed to, but I like don't care, right? And so like literally just going back and taking the class while the kids going back to school threw me off. Like I don't even know, like, who am I? Like, what? I'm a mom. Am I really? Like, you know what I mean? And so it's just so for the first time ever I felt like, okay, I decided to tell myself, and this is why I'm sharing it. I decided to not be too hard on myself and take it slow and not stop. Instead of stopping, because I felt several times that I wanted to quit, even with sync, right? Like,
Yeah.
because I have to executive produce songs and I pay for it. And now that I'm not working anymore, so whatever I saved money, it's getting lower and lower because I have to pay producers to
Yeah.
produce it, and I want high quality too. So
Yes.
you can never settle with demos or like low quality if you want to break through the clutter of competition. And so it's hard. So what I want to tell people is, if you love something, do it. Just do it. Get up. Like, it's as if it's exercise. You don't want to exercise, but you know you're going to end up having a six pack. You know what I mean? If you're consistent, you feel good after, not during. So it's the same thing. I get phone calls at 10 o'clock or 12 o'clock. We want the song now. Can you get the stems or whatever? Your metadata is not consistent or wrong or whatever, because my beginning of the journey, I was still learning, so I made a lot of mistakes. Now I don't. So whatever songs that's supposed to be placed my early ones. So, but
Yeah.
the metadata was not right. So, and I didn't know because I already like signed it or whatever. And so they want me like at 12 at night because it's a difference. So I get up from bed. I'm already warm and cuddled. I have to get up and sit down on the computer and do it. And I'm tired. I'm exhausted, but I do it. I have to. So I tell people, you love something, do it. Nothing is easy in life. Nothing is a straight line in life. Everything is, there's always the unexpected, but then there's always good things that happen when you work hard on something. There is always the reward of it. You have to be patient, and you have to be hopeful, and surround yourself with people who are optimistic and who are generous enough to guide you and help you when you need the help, and be open-minded. Oh, and then also critique and feedback is extremely important. I don't understand it when people don't like feedback when they ask for it, or they like, like, no. If you want to be better, you have to be open-minded and remember that feedback and criticism, especially with your songs, um, it's professional, it's not personal.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I was able, a lot of songs that I've worked on and paid money for it already that were not good, but it has potential. I paid more money on it and spent more investments on it, or like time in it. And
Yeah.
I brought it from a B level to an A level. And these got placed. However, I did not listen to every feedback as well. I listened to my intuition and gut feeling. And even the ones that I didn't listen and didn't change at all, they got placements as well.
Oh,
So
excellent.
this is something that you have to um, train yourself to know when to listen to feedback and when to listen to your intuition and gut feeling. Because at the end of the day, this is your baby, your song,
Yeah.
right? So,
Oh, I love it. So where can we find you?
on social media, I think I'm on Instagram more than anything else, but on Facebook as well. So Instagram, it's just Amira Gadd. Facebook, I think it's Amira Gadd or Amira dash Gadd. I don't know. Just find me.
Okay. I'll
But
post
on
your link.
Instagram, there's a guarantee. Yeah, the guarantee of finding.
I'll post all of this in the show notes so anyone can go find you.
By the way, I'm on Instagram a lot, not for anything except I love memes. I'm addicted to memes. And that's why you can find me, because I'm looking for a meme or a joke. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today. You are amazing.
Thank you, Bonnie, so much. I love talking to you, and you are amazing as well. And you're gorgeous. And may every listener who's listening, I wish you all the biggest love, the best success, the health that you are, strong health, prosperity, peace, and all of your wishes come true.
You too. Right back at you. Amazing.